Hello, my name is Margaret Adele, and welcome to another indie book review. Today I am reviewing Insert Coin to Play by Jennifer R. Donahue. This is the 5th novella in the Run with the Hunted series. I may be making some references to it, although since this is an episodic series, it probably won't be like major spoilers, but I will have the links to the other reviews down in the description below. Now, this one I was really excited for because the series has a rotating POV cast, and in this one we were back to the tech guru of our heist trio, Bits, who is my favorite. I was looking forward to it, and I think I got the setup for this mixed up in my head because I thought it was like a video game MMORPG, and it was actually an ARG. So they are doing like gaming things, but like in the real world. But of course, Bits is still doing her regular, like, searching through stuff, hacking. I didn't understand a lot of the sciencey stuff. I usually don't, but this is definitely the book that focuses a lot more on the futuristic setting, because the setting of this series is kind of like tenuous at times. Depending on what they're doing and what's going on, you can almost forget this is technically a futuristic setting. However, Bits books tend to be much more focused on the sci-fi, which makes sense. She has literal, like, retinal chips in her eyes and, like, a HUD that comes up over her real life. So it's a lot more focus on technology, but it definitely does feel like technology that could theoretically exist in a futuristic version of the world we have now. And I liked that concept. The big thing is that there wasn't really a lot of tension for a large portion of the book. Part of this is because this trio at this point is very well established. Bits even says they have more money than they know what to do with. So this whole ARG that they're doing is literally just for fun. They like the idea of the prizes. They want the prizes, so they're doing it. There's no sense of like proving something to themselves. There's no outside tension. And while there doesn't necessarily need to be, this late in a series, you do kind of want a little bit of something. And about 40 pages in, give or take, which is a decent portion for a 120-page novella, things finally do pick up, and obviously I'm not going to spoil what it is, but heist, spy things begin to happen, and that's really where you see more of the action. And also this book starts hinting more and more at the character dynamics. It's one of the things that I mentioned before, that this trio in previous installments really just felt more like colleagues. There wasn't really a found family vibe. And you can kind of see, Bets even makes mention of that, how she and Dolly, the, grunt arms dealer, arms of the group essentially, have had a closer friendship than either of them have had with Bristol, who is like the fancy socialite one. And you definitely can see that. However, I still don't feel a lot of connection between them. And I think part of the problem is with the length of these books and the focus on the action. Now, obviously, a heist needs the action. It needs the clever tricks, the escapes from the pursuers, like all that kind of stuff. But as a result of all the focus being on those, there's not as much focus on the character development, on the relationship development, because those kind of things really only develop in quiet moments, in quiet conversations, in getting ready for the big thing, but the big thing has not happened yet. And then it's the culmination of those arcs that occur during the big plot things. But because this series is a novella series and none of the books ever exceed 200 pages, and each of them is their own wholly start to finish spy mission, essentially, or heist mission, you don't have a lot of time for those quieter moments. You saw a little bit from Bristol in the previous book to this one, but even then I noted, I wish there had been more quiet character moments. I wish there had been more of a build-up. I wish there had been more of getting to know each other beyond the superficial level. Now, obviously, almost all of these people are going by, like, aliases or code names. Bits literally goes by her online username. Bristol has like a cajillion different aliases that she can pull out at a moment's notice, and they're aware that not even the name Bristol is her actual name. And at a certain point, you either have to accept that that's never going to happen and you're never going to have that dynamic and just keep it novellas, or gonna have to start extending the runtime of the book to allow for those quieter moments. There were a couple things in this one, moments at a motel where they were getting from point A to point B that lent itself a little bit, and you could see some aspects of they understood each other's characteristics and habits, but there's still that element of they don't know each other very deeply, and despite some of the actions they've taken to save each other in the past, I still don't know how much I believe in this as a found family versus just a trio of thieves that work really well together. And in general, I do think that moving forward, I am probably going to feel the lack of page count in the novella format for these books, which so it's surprising that it took until like book 4 for me to start feeling it, because I'm usually not a novella reader. I usually really want more deep social interactions to really feel those kind of connections. But in book 4 and this one, I'm really starting to feel like, nope, we needed more. I needed more spaced out so that I could really feel it. But in general, I gave this book 4 stars. I did like the ending. I like the little twist. However, speaking vaguely because spoilers, that twist also adds an entirely new element that only reaffirms that I'm gonna want to see more and longer page counts in the future to really explore what that new element brings to the table. There was also some elements mentioned with Dolly and Butler, her kind of not really romantic interest from previous books, and it keeps hinting at things, but one-off dialogue hints aren't really enough for emotional catharsis to see a thing come to fruition. Like, this book mentions Butler, but that's not enough for the emotional catharsis of seeing them together at the beginning of the next book, for example. So I would like to see more of the emotional elements, more of the character relationships develop beyond just a deep knowledge of each other's habits and personalities, like histories and those little secrets that only friends know. So I am hesitant moving forward if it continues to be a novella series, just how much they can fit in those novella sizes. But I do still enjoy it. I would still recommend it, especially if you want some sci-fi that's maybe slightly easier to get into, although maybe don't start with a bits installment. And I continue to enjoy this series overall. And with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.